เหรอเขาเขว
Hey guys, it's Julian, let's get into it. The story starts with Noel, a stunning young woman, strutting down the street with the confidence of a supermodel. Everyone around can't help but admire her beauty and her striking all-black uniform. Noel muses to herself that she loves uniforms because they save her the trouble of having to prove her identity to anyone. As she descends a staircase, Noel encounters an adorable puppy. She's about to feed it a treat when a young blonde man bursts out, revealing he used the puppy Osushi as bait to see her underwear. However, his plan backfires spectacularly when Noel delivers a swift kick to his face, sending him tumbling into the trash. A fitting place for him, she notes. She calls the guy Balgo, but we will call him Mr. Perv for now. Mr. Perv climbs out of the trash, narrowly avoiding a steel pipe thrown by Noel. He protests that she almost killed him, but Noel nonchalantly replies that she never intended to hit him. As Mr. Perv gears up for another attempt, Noel quickly knocks him out with a sharp uppercut. Noel then steps into a phone booth and inserts a special gold coin. Speaking magic words, she disappears in a flash of light, leaving the unconscious Mr. Perv behind. In another city, Noel is met by Ninny, a blonde girl who scolds her for being late. Noel blames Mr. Perv for her tardiness, but Ninny is uninterested in her excuses. They quickly leave to avoid the gathering crowd. At their headquarters, they're greeted by their chief Billy, who assigns them a bizarre mission: to retrieve grapes from inside a dragon's nostrils. Ninny complains about the bug-infested location, but Noel reminds her that complaining won't change their destination. It's then revealed that Ninny and Noel are pipers, individuals with the unique ability to interact with dragons. Ninny is ranked as the second umbrella, while Noel holds the rank of first umbrella. Mounting their dragons, they set off on their unusual quest. In his room, Mr. Perv is upset about Noel's sudden disappearance, lamenting his missed opportunity to see her panties. He is scolded by his childhood friend, who does not believe Noel disappeared to a place called Reverse London, and reminds Mr. Perv that the place is just a fairy tale. This friend advises Mr. Perv to try being friends with Noel first if he really wants to be with her. However, when Mr. Perv accuses his friend of also wanting to see Noel's panties, the friend awkwardly admits he's hoping Noel might introduce him to one of her friends. Mr. Perv remains unconvinced, prompting his friend to remind him of a childhood incident where he saved Mr. Perv's life, emphasizing the depth of their friendship. Meanwhile, Noel and Ninny have reached their destination. Ninny expresses her eagerness to climb the ranks and join the Sabres, a group that hunts dragons to protect London. As they climb the docile dragon, Noel explains that regular civilians are prohibited from touching dragons, the reason being that once a dragon is touched by a human, it absorbs the innate darkness that is within the human, and the dragon in turn become evil and violent in nature. As a result, humans who intentionally touch dragons automatically receive the death penalty. Back with Mr. Perv, he's trying to figure out how the phone booth works while his friend remains skeptical, suggesting that Mr. Perv might have dreamed or hallucinated the whole experience. Mr. Perv insists he's telling the truth, mentioning that when he regained consciousness, the phone booth was gone, leaving only a manhole cover marked WB. The friend, somewhat dismissive, places the puppy Osushi on Mr. Perv's head and suggests they go home to feed the dog. While Mr. Perv and his friend were talking, Osushi's eyes suddenly turned traffic stop red, and a dark and ominous force burst out of the little puppy. Mr. Perv's friend was horrified, but Pervy himself didn't see the massive dark dragon that was forming overhead. At that moment, Noel and Ninny got a call from their chief, alerting them of the dragon's appearance. The chief explained that all the Sabres were occupied, and Noel and Ninny were the only ones nearby who could respond. Ninny was visibly excited at the prospect, seeing it as her chance to stand out and finally make it to the Sabres. As they headed towards the dragon, Ninny suggested using a coin gate for faster travel. Following her suggestion, Noel shot a gold coin into the air, and Ninny hit it with her laser gun, creating a massive portal. Meanwhile, Mr. Perv and his friend were running for their damn lives. The weird thing is, for some reason, the giant dragon was invisible to Mr. Perv. He could only hear it. He tried to comfort Osushi, not realizing he was holding nothing but a lifeless body. Then, just as the dragon was about to strike, Noel and Ninny arrived in a beam of light. Ninny was baffled about how such a large dragon could have appeared out of nowhere. But then, to their astonishment, the dragon, aka Pervy number 2, started speaking and bizarrely demanded to see Noel's panties. Ninny was stunned and confused, but Noel knew exactly who was behind it. She called out for Mr. Perv to show himself. When Pervy saw Noel, he was amazed to see her freaking flying. Despite her threatening him with the death penalty, he couldn't help but find her adorable in her anger. Upon seeing the remains of Osushi, Noel and Ninny realized that the dragon was a disguiser, a type of dragon that uses corpses to blend into human society, revealing their true form when they find an opportunity. Pervy's friend told him to drop the little puppy's body. He insisted that Osushi was dead, eaten by the dragon. But Pervy was puzzled, because how could his friend even see the freaking dragon in the first place? In the midst of this, Ninny flew in to rescue them while Noel dealt with the dark dragon. However, as Ninny evaded the dark dragon, Noel's level 9000 scouter detected another dragon nearby. Before she could warn Ninny, a dragon burst forth from Pervy's friend, attacking her. Noel tried to intervene, but the dark dragon blocked her way. As the second dragon fully emerged from the body, it spoke of its plan to kill and eat Ninny, hoping to become immortal. Pervy, still unable to see anything, called out to his friend, only hearing a dark, menacing voice in return. The dragon told Pervy to leave, not wanting to harm him. Just then, Ninny fired her laser gun at the dragon, but it was useless. Then, just as the dragon was about to strike her, Noel swooped in and saved her. Ninny asked about the dark dragon, but Noel informed her it was already handled. Noel then revealed a shocking truth. The second dragon was actually Pervy's friend Selby. She explained that when they were 7, Selby had saved Pervy from a train accident. Everyone thought it was a miracle Selby survived, but in reality he had died, and the dragon had taken over his body ever since. While they talked, the dragon suddenly appeared, knocking Ninny off the building, followed by Noel. Pervy rushed to Ninny's side, asking if she was okay. Ninny tells him not to ask someone covered in blood if they are okay, and he should get out of here. As the dragon launched an attack at Ninny, Pervy bravely stepped in front to shield her. Pervy-sensei felt the dragon's teeth sink into his arm, and suddenly he could see the monstrous creature clearly. The dragon was puzzled by his bravery. Because why didn't he just run away? Pervy-sensei replies he wouldn't leave his friend, the dragon, to do something terrible like hurting others. But the dragon wasn't buying it. It reminded Sensei that his friend Selby was long dead. But our sensei didn't waver. In true fairy tale fashion, he told the dragon that it had been his best friend for far longer than Selby ever was. But the friendship no jutsu did not work. The dragon decided that he had to be eliminated and lunged at him. Just as the dragon lunged, Noel leaped into action, intercepting the attack. With remarkable agility, she countered with a formidable kick straight to the dragon's face. Sensei wet himself a little. Noel then complimented Sensei, saying he looked quite cool in that moment, and she accepted the feelings he had for her. The dragon, not yet defeated, ascended for a final desperate assault, but our girl was ready. Unflinching, she drew her gun and aimed at the dragon. With a single shot, she vanquished the menacing beast, bringing an end to its reign of terror. Sensei was left shocked and a bit confused, because he really thought the plot was building up to the dragon actually being spared in the end. The following morning, Ninny and Noel are in for a surprise when they find Sensei at their headquarters. They had assumed he would be sentenced to death for coming into contact with a dragon. However, their chief, Billy, clarifies the situation. He explains that while Sensei did indeed come into contact with a dragon, he was also bitten by one, granting him the ability to see dragons. As a result, Sensei has become a dragon-clad. Billy elaborates that dragon-clads, unlike dark and evil dragons, are treated and protected like regular dragons. Nini and Noel are shocked to find out that they are now responsible for Sensei. In a delightful twist, it's also revealed that Asushi, the puppy, isn't dead. Instead, he has developed adorable little dragon wings. Sensei, who is now living with Noel, is asked by her to answer the phone. Nini, who is on the other line, is irked that the morning newspaper featured and credited Noel for defeating the Dark Dragon, leaving her out of the spotlight. Their squabble is cut short when they receive an urgent call from Billy about an emergency, instructing them to come to the office. Initially, Noel is reluctant to respond since it's the weekend, but the mention of double pay quickly grabs their attention. A few days later, we find Nini in an alley, muttering to herself while navigating the city's labyrinthine streets. Her solitude is abruptly shattered by a swarm of persistent photographers bombarding her with intrusive questions about her personal life, and amidst the chaos, an unfortunate encounter occurs as they clumsily knock over a pink-haired girl, groceries scattering across the pavement. Frustrated and at her wit's end, Nini uses the brighter-than-my-future flash on her phone to blind them and make a run for it. She then turns a corner and, with a swift use of her phone on a gold coin, opens a portal, slipping away and leaving the photographers in a state of bewildered shock. Meanwhile, in a contrasting scene of adrenaline-fueled pursuit, the beautiful Noel is engaged in a high-stakes chase with one of Santa's long-lost winged helpers. Chanting an incantation, she skillfully wields a pipe, firing at Rudolph 2.0, but the confrontation intensifies as Rudolph, its mouth and antlers surging with power, prepares to unleash a potentially devastating attack. And in a desperate bid, Noel warns Rudolph against using magic, citing the dangerous consequence of its antlers blooming. Out of nowhere, a giant freaking bat appears from the woods attacking our girl, but it was high noon, as she quick draws her gun, blasting the creature back. But as the bat retreats, the force of its wings sends both Noel and Rudolph tumbling backward. However, in a timely intervention, Nini arrives, chanting a spell to conjure a safety net, catching both Noel and Rudolph in a protective embrace. The two women engage in a heated exchange, with Nini scolding Noel for recklessly embarking on such a high-rank mission alone, but Noel retorts, blaming Nini for her tardiness. Amid their argument, we learn that, in London, dragons have been the cause of 72% of all deaths since time immemorial, and are invisible to the residents of Front London. These dragons' existence is a well-kept secret, with only the inhabitants of Reverse London able to perceive and thus manage them. As the iconic duo arrives at their headquarters, Noel confesses that she started the mission solo hoping to get all the rewards for herself. However, upon scanning her phone, she discovers a deduction in points, while Nini has surprisingly gained points, and Nini teases that her points increase might be due to saving Noel's life. Their light-hearted banter is abruptly interrupted by a peculiar shout, "Let me see your panties!" This is revealed to be from Asushi, as the cute puppy dragon soars through the air, tethered to what appears to be a clothesline, and Sensei holding on for dear life. Sensei tries to get the puppy to land by calling it cute and adorable, but it does not work. The doggy is on a mission. As they look on, Nini tells Noel to do something about it, but Noel says that it's both of their responsibility to look after them, but their squabble is cut short by the arrival of Billy, who is in a state of panic, imploring them to save Sensei. Unmoved initially, the duo's attention is quickly captured by Billy's ultimate persuasion tool, a wad of cash. Motivated by this, Nini and Noel race off on their dragons, eager to rescue Sensei. Sensei is clinging desperately to Asushi as they draw the attention of the entire town with their wild antics. Their chaotic flight ends abruptly on a family's rooftop, where Sensei, concerned for the well-being of a young man working there, asks if he's okay. But the young man, visibly annoyed, calls Sensei a moron and urgently warns him to keep the dragon away, aware of the dire consequences of physical contact with it. In a sudden twist, Osushi takes off again, knocking Sensei off the building, and fortunately, Nini is quick to the rescue, catching him mid-fall. Despite Nini's timely intervention, Sensei, looking up, thanks Noel instead for saving him, and this, understandably, irks Nini. When they land, the young man on the roof seems smitten by Noel's presence, but Noel, cautious and professional, inquires if he made contact with the dragon, and his denial prompts Nini to suggest a test. Noel, pulling out an antiquated flip phone, asks the young man to lick it, and here I thought this show was PG-13, but the poor guy complies, relieved when the test result is negative. Sensei is quickly brought back to reality by a sharp elbow and a scolding from Nini, who reminds him that this chaos is his fault, but Sensei tries to defend himself, saying the muzzle he had on Osushi was ripped off, when out of nowhere he sprouted his wings and started flying. Noel asks Sensei if Osushi sprouted wings without anything triggering it, given that the wings only come out when Sensei tries to bark like Osushi, when Sensei sneezes, or when he laughs, and lastly, when Sensei is in danger. As if on cue, a giant white dragon looms threateningly behind Sensei, attempting to crush him, but Noel, quick to act, saves him, revealing that as a dragon-clad, Sensei inadvertently attracts dragons. As the dragon approaches, Noel tells Sensei to run to a place without a lot of people, while Nini brings out the barrier tape. Nini asks what is next, but it is high noon as Sensei quick draws her gun, fires it at the dragon's chinny chin-chin, knocking it out cold. Noel then calls the chief, informing it of the situation and asking for bonus pay since she took care of the dragon. However, their moment of respite is short-lived as the dragon's face suddenly falls off, revealing something sinister hidden within. Nini, with her quick reflexes, saves Noel from an incoming attack, but the dragon, now a dark, decapitated zombie-like creature, chases after them. Luckily, their respective dragons swoop in for a timely assist, picking them up. Thinking they're safe under a bridge, they're proven wrong as the relentless dragon follows. While flying, Nini was almost knocked off her dragon by a group of pigeons, but she showed her skill with flying by remaining calm and was able to stabilize and remount Charizard's long-lost cousin, avoiding being crushed to death. Soon, doors around the city are sealed and emergency alerts blare, informing the confused citizens of the imminent danger, while the dragon leaves a trail of destruction in its wake. The duo, now atop a cathedral, oversee the city, and Noel updates the chief on the blockade and is about to request the assistance of the Sabers, but Nini grabs the phone saying they will not let the Sabers take all the credit, and it's their chance to show everyone how powerful they are. But despite Noel's reminder of their limited role as pipers, Nini jumps into action. On the ground, Sensei is spotted by the giant dragon, but the beast is suddenly blasted away by the smiling Nini. It tries to retaliate, but Nini dodges its attack and blasts it again. But unluckily, Sensei once again finds himself right in the path of the monster. As the monster readies to attack, Baby Girl lands in front of him, and blowing on her pipe, she creates a magical crown around them. It was high noon as she then flips the pipe, turning it into a gun and fires the teeth of the crown at the monster. In another building, a group of people are watching the battle, and the tough guy with blue streaks in his hair, Bruno Bangknife, is upset because it has been almost a century since they let a dark dragon into reverse London.
We are then introduced to the rest of the members at the table. Roy B. Dipper, Quintnire Miliev, Trombone Takanen, Sullivan Squire, and the absent Sokka Rin, along with Harry Shake, who we will call Gum Gum.
Bruno addresses the room, asking why it seems he is the only one who is upset, and points out our poor sensei as the reason for this mess. This looks more like a mugshot than a profile picture. He asks a member whom we apparently missed the first time, which should be a crime because he has the coolest name ever, Wolfgang Slashhout. He inquires what they should do. Wolfgang explains that Sensei has been discussed many times at the table since his appearance, And it's due to the Saber's negligence that the citizens of the town find themselves in danger. And in conclusion, the decision is made for Sensei to be eliminated. Noel, Ninny, Sensei, and the pink-haired girl find themselves cornered by Vegito, who is on top of his blue dragon. Vegito lists out the crimes of the group and tells them Sensei has been named a punitive dragon, and it is now legal to hunt and kill him. Sensei is confused because he has not committed any crimes, but Noel whispers to Ninny that she is going to blind Vegito to give them a chance to escape. Vegito interrupts and tells them even if they think of escaping, they have nowhere to go as everyone in Reverse London will be hunting them. Out of nowhere, the pink-haired girl's dragon shows up and rushes Vegito and his dragon. But as Vegito prepares a ki blast to kill it, the dragon disappears, shocking him. We find out that Ellie, the pink-haired girl's dragon, has the rare stealth ability, and she appears out of darkness once again, knocking Vegito and his dragon to the ground. As she soars upward in the sky, she transforms from a frail to a beautiful, majestic-like dragon, shocking even her owner. Everyone is confused, but Noel chimes in, stating that Ellie must have used the moon's light to evolve. Vegito and his dragon appear, and based on what he has seen, he determines that Ellie is a dragon type called Marchen, one of the 7 legendary dragons that has been around since the founding of Reverse London, and this one's nickname is Cinderella. Noel explains, Cinderella was given her nickname because she can only transform at night, and it scatters a dust called star ash. This dust has the ability to detonate anything it comes into contact with, as Cinderella proves just that, by detonating every building in her immediate area. Vegito says he will hold off Sensei's execution for now, as he will hunt this Marchen, the ancestors of the dark dragons and enemy of mankind. Ninny of all people calls him crazy, but Vegito responds, this is the best way to make a name for himself, and tells the group to not get in his way while rushing at Cinderella. Ninny wants to call HQ for reinforcement, but Noel stops her because Sensei's execution is still active, and if they call for reinforcement, they will kill him first. As they spoke, however, one of Cinderella's star ash finds its way on their platform, and it promptly detonates on their faces. They are somehow able to make it out with Sensei on the back of Noel's dragon and the pink-haired girl on the back of Ninny's. As Vegito is approaching Cinderella, he sprays a sign on one of his dragon's wing and summons a hunger shadow. The shadow lands on her face and bites her, but Cinderella's eyes shone red as she easily burns it out of existence. Noel and Ninny catch up to Vegito, and he says it was about time they showed up. He tells them to back him up and says they can kill Cinderella if they are able to break her crown-like horns. But Noel asks if he is sure, given that information is from a fairy tale. Vegito responds they have nothing else to go on and reminds them that Cinderella is a fairy tale-like creature. The battle begins as Ninny and Noel circle around Cinderella, while Vegito attacks from the front. But Cinderella already figured out their plan as it tries to incinerate Ninny. She's able to outrun the fire and gets closer to Cinderella's left wing, only to be met by a rain of star ashes. She dodges each explosion by the skin of her teeth, and once she makes it to the sky where Noel is, together, the duo execute their spell, Magic Number 68, Supernal Jail, restraining Cinderella. It's Vegito's turn as he unlocks Release Code 2028, Greedy Curtain, enveloping the majestic dragon, and causing her star ashes to explode with her still in it. The blast blows both Noel and Ninny away, and they crash land where Sensei and the pink-haired girl are. What's even worse is Cinderella emerges from the explosion barely damaged, and it only caused her to become more irritated. So irritated, in fact, that it decides to take to the sky and fly right towards where Noel and Ninny are with her red eyes shining with anger and death. The duo prepares their shield, but the pink-haired girl begs them not to kill Cinderella, and the dragon might just be coming over to see her. As Ninny rightly calls her crazy, 3 star ashes detonate in their faces. The blast knocks them out, and the pink-haired girl, Macy, begs Cinderella to recognize her, but Cinderella responds by unleashing thousands of star ashes towards them. Noel and Ninny raise their shields just in time to stop them from being incinerated, and Ninny asks Macy how long is she going to keep doing this bullshit, and reminds her that at the end of the day, dragons are monsters, and sometimes you just can't get through to them. They don't live in a fairy tale where she can just fly away with her majestic dragon into a happy ever after. Cinderella roars, and the two prepare for round 2. Sensei wants to be tagged in, but Noel just tells him to hold on to the pipe and hide in the corner. As Sensei cries to Osushi, however, the pipe transforms into a freaking sword, shocking everyone. When Cinderella spots the sword, her eyes go back to their calm blue and she softly lands on top of a building. As Vegito wonders what's going on, a giant blast streaks through the sky and pierces the majestic dragon through the head, breaking pieces of her crown. As Cinderella falls, we find that the blast came from none other than their chief, Billy.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
The next morning, Nini confronts Billy about only getting 5 points for the mission, when she helped take out one of the 7 legendary dragons. But Billy argues they are lucky she did not owe points after all the destruction caused by the dragon, and it's only right since it was Vegito who did most of the work and dealt the final blow. But Nini says he was not the one that killed the dragon, and she still doesn't know where the blast came from. As they argue, Macy merrily walks in the room, and Nini immediately tells Billy they are not recruiting more people to their group. As Billy explains that Macy is now a dragon-clad, she runs over and tightly hugs Nini, saying how much fun they are going to have. Moving over to the Sabres headquarters, Wolfgang is holding on to a request to uplift Sensei's execution by none other than Vegito. Wolfgang then explains that before Sensei ran into Macy 2 months ago, her Marchant, Cinderella, never showed herself. And Sensei might be the key to reveal the other Marchants, which will allow them to finally be hunted and killed. Sensei and Osushi then meet with Noel, and he tells her that Billy came by earlier and took back the pipe. Without saying a word, Noel hugs them. Sensei asks if something bad happened, she responds no. He asked if something good happened, and she responded yes, which causes Sensei to smile and say he is